action. A mutual plan of action. Now, if Jonathan does not come up to specs, now Jonathan is a difficult employee. You see, it's all a process. That's all handling difficult people are. It's a process. It's a procedure. The problem is we're all rushed, jammed up. People expect a lot from us today. There are things that get in our way. We don't have time to deal with this nuisance. But realistic, if we invest a little bit of time, we might actually have an incredibly productive employee. Now, one of the things you also have to be aware of is that when you're dealing with difficult people, they may not be difficult. They may actually be different. You ever met some just different people? I'm sorry, we're in Florida. There's some different people out there, aren't they? You meet them every day. Differences, however, don't have to mean difficulties if you handle it correctly. As a matter of fact, I was in the computer industry for almost 10 years. I am a low-tech guy in a high-tech world. Honestly, I don't get it. I walked in the very first day as a manager to turn around a sales department in a computer company that sold cables, connectors, and networking. You know, if Al Gore actually invented the internet, I wired it. We were selling cables, connectors, networking. I looked at these technical people, and I have to say, the first thought that went through my mind is, man, they're a little weird. But then I came, after 2 weeks, dealing with them and trying to get them to become me. I got to do something about these people way too tight. They need to loosen up a little bit. I tried to work on changing them, but for 2 weeks, and I efforted. But now, in the end of 2 weeks, I suddenly realized, gee, if I make them all just like me, now none of us know what's going on. So from that moment, I learned how to appreciate the difference and utilize the difference, because it takes, in order to make a team, you're going to have diversity. And not everybody's going to like each other and work together, but the key is we've got to have one common goal. And that's one of the important things you have to have with difficult people. Constant feedback on what that goal is. Do you ever sit in a evaluation program, or you give that evaluation once or twice a year, and you're sitting there with the employee, and they start, before you even get to start, you sit down and they go, oh, let me tell you real quick, I do my job, and I do my job well. And you're thinking, yeah, based on whose standards? And that'd be a good question, isn't it? Based on whose standards? Have we really clearly written what I like to call a statement of excellence? Have we really written a statement that says exactly what these people need to achieve for success? Or have we somehow assumed they know what they should be doing? Have things changed during the period of time, and we somehow assume that they keep up with all the changes going along and they're still able to focus on their job? And there's a certain amount of responsibility that is on their shoulders, no question about it. But we're the leaders. It's our job to bring them along. It's our job to encourage them to come along. No, I'm not your buddy and your friend, and I'll never be your buddy and your friend in work. I think that sometimes gets in your way. But I will be your ally, and I'll be your support system, because that is my job as a leader, is to support those who do the real work by keeping them on track with where the end result needs to be. So I write a clear statement of excellence and make sure that everybody in that organization understands exactly what excellence looks like. And you'll see that'll be a motivating factor as well, because people are motivated when they understand what has to be done and achieved. Personality issues, little technique for you here. When you start to talk to somebody that you just don't like, you know, that's the big thing. How about liking people? We have that issue, right? We don't get along with them sometimes. There's just something about them that drives us absolutely right up the wall the moment they walk in the door. Even in the parking lot, you see them coming, you duck down real quick behind a car. Oh, man, I'm so glad I didn't see them this morning. You have to ask yourself a question before you start beating them up totally for their performance. You have to say, is this a personality issue or a performance issue? Got a little test for it. Here's the way it works. This is for the visually inclined people in the audience. I want these results up here. I'm getting these results up here. I just have something that I don't like about those people. Here's a great technique to walk away with today. Please write this down if you would. When you've done the test, here's what I want. Here's what I'm getting. It's exactly the same thing. Here's what you need to do. Please write this down. You ready? Get a grip. You don't have to like them to work with them. First thing, you have to step back and say, gee, what's the difference in personality? You got to learn there's 4 types, 4 major types. You got to learn that 2 of them are always opposite of the other 2. And you know what? You got to realize those people that you don't like sometimes for whatever reason, they may actually be your great weakness. They may be your great compliment. They may be the one that does the thing that you don't like to do. So if you get rid of them, guess who has to do all those things you don't like to do? It's all about differences. It's all about understanding and appreciating that. It's all about understanding. In our program, we'll talk about training methods, how to get the point across to people that are different. Because if you go by the golden rule being doing what? What's the golden rule? Those who have the goal set the rule. Is that it? That's one of them. Now, the golden rule says, do unto others how? As you'd like, treat others as you like to be treated. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think we do misinterpret a little bit. If I treat you exactly like I want to be treated, and I'm a different personality type, what's that relationship going to look like? So actually you need to go by what's called a platinum rule. The platinum rule being do unto others as they need done unto them. That's a very important part about handling difficult employees, is treat them the way that's appropriate. I need to treat those personality types appropriately. We'll talk about all those types within a program, and we'll talk about how to work with them. Once you learn where you are, you can then apply it more effectively to where they fit and how it meshes together. We'll talk about giving effective feedback, a 7-step method of giving effective feedback so you gain commitment to a long-term change in behavior as opposed to a short-term compliance. We'll be looking at how to manage stress. Anybody have some stress in the room? Let me see a show of hands. Generally, people have so much stress they can't even get it up anymore. That happens. I know. It's tough. We'll talk about managing stress. We'll talk about not being the stressor of the people, but also not letting them become your stressor either. How about making that stress more productive and more solid so you end up with a positive outcome? That's a very important issue. That's a very important issue. One of the most important things that I do, my goal for the day when I'm working with your organization is very simple. My goal is to help everybody learn the strategies and techniques that will empower themselves and their supervisors to turn problem employees into productive ones. Thank you very much.